So what a miserable day today. It's raining and we're taking this Ferrari down to Ferrari of San Francisco service department where they're going to do some work. And I'm friends with Ferrari of San Francisco service and they allowed me to video it. So I hope you enjoyed the day.
Okay, we arrived at Ferrari of San Francisco and I'm going into what they call service drive, and it's their customer receiving bay. And I'm driving into front of these doors and they should open, they said, and I can drive straight in. And this is where they receive customer cars and customers. What a fantastic place. I haven't seen a service bay like this in the Bay Area anywhere with any brand. But anyway, here we are. Got here finally, and we traversed the traffic, but we're over here at the reception bay where Ferrari meet all their customers, and you drive straight in, as you can just see. And basically, I'm here to meet some people who are going to help look after my car today. So,
welcome to Ferrari of San Francisco.
Yeah,
service.
nice to see.
How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. I'm glad to be here because I'm excited to get some of the work done on my car.
Oh, that's so beautiful color. What's the color?
Yeah, it's called Avio Blue. It's a historical Ferrari colour, and there's only 5 599s in the world in this colour. And 2 are in the US, one's this one, one's an Aperta, and the other one's in Europe. So it is a unique car.
It's seriously rare. I don't think I ever seen one here.
No, it's different. It's really rare car, and everybody who sees it thinks it's really, really lovely.
What's about the leather like?
Yep, it's got the full HGTE interior. It's got the HGTE seats. Very, very special car. Who's this? Hey, Scott, how are you? Nice to see you.
Yeah, how you been?
I've been good.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
It has. Yeah, thanks for coming in today.
Absolutely, I finally brought it back.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to sort of do some wrenching on it for me?
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll take care of the servicing and then we'll take care of the alignment as well for you.
Yeah. Hi, Scott, before you check my car in, and I know you've got a customer procedure to check cars in, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Ferrari of San Francisco. I think there's a misnomer about bringing cars to dealerships. And I noticed that you've got classic cars here. I know that when I bought a new Ferrari, I'd always bring it here because of the warranty and the 7-year servicing that's included. But when you start getting older cars like mine or like this, I was starting to think, oh, I don't want to bring it to Ferrari because it might cost me an arm and a leg. But actually, there's 2 things I want to say that I've experienced.
Yes.
One is the staff here are brilliant, particularly Billy. He's always looked after me. But more importantly, the cost of bringing a car here to have work done is comparable with anybody else, like independents, if not better and cheaper. I don't want to use the word cheap, but lower cost maybe. And I think people don't realize how fair you are with your pricing. And I think what's important to understand is that we sometimes miss that pricing over taking it to an independent and not realize the independents don't really have the full expertise. And what I've noticed is that you've got some amazing technicians who work on some of these older cars and make me want to trust you with my car.
Absolutely.
Now, people on my YouTube channel know I wrench on my own cars, but there's certain things I can't do myself.
Of course.
I'm on my own,
Yes.
you know, and some of the things are specialist, like what we've come here to do today with the wheel alignment is very specialist. But I found an experience I had before where I had the air conditioning compressor replaced on this car. I mistakenly thought that Ferrari couldn't do the job at a price I could afford, and it probably ended up costing me more than what it would cost here because those specialists don't have everything at hand, they don't have parts in stock, they're ordering it from all over the place, and it ends up costing a lot more. So that has been my personal experience. So Scott, tell us a little bit about the range of vehicles that you service here and the type of customers that are bringing cars here to you.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. So, yeah, there is this misconception that, pricing of the dealership is extremely high, right? And also the fact that, hey, they don't have people that can work on older vehicles, or, they no longer have that expertise, or we should only bring it here when the vehicle's under warranty to protect the new car warranty. Well, I mean, that's not the case. We're fortunate that George Grinswich purchased the store recently and last April, and this dealership is actually owned by George, which is a family-owned business, right? And they're famous in the Sacramento market. It's called Bonhausen Automotive Group. So
they are. I know them from. They used to be the Mercedes dealerships until they moved away from that. And I did meet George. I love working with family-owned dealerships. They are a lot more flexible and accommodating. I work with a Mercedes dealer up in the North Bay here, and they're family-owned as well. And the experience is different. And you know, one of the things I will say when you have a family-owned dealership over a group-owned dealership is that my personal loyalty sticks with the dealership. And I'll give you an example. The Mercedes dealer in the North, who's family-owned, they couldn't get hold of a Black Series car for me. But they said, go to another dealer. I said, no, if you can't get it for me, I'm not buying it. And I didn't buy it. So it makes a big difference, a huge difference. But I did notice you had some techs here that have really been working on some of these older, are there 328 and a 308 over there. Tell me a little bit about the techs you've got in the actual workshop, and who are they and why are they so special?
Yeah, no, definitely. So the technicians here, first off, they obviously go through the factory training on all the new vehicles, right? But if you go back into the older vehicles, this dealership was actually owned at one point by Ferrari North America. So
really,
if you go back historically, what this dealership has, it has all the resources, whether it's information or tool-wise, to go back all the way to the 50s on these vehicles. Wow. So it's something that you wouldn't necessarily typically see at every new car dealership, and we're talking about multi-brands, but pretty unique to Ferrari is the fact that we have all that information going way back. And with that, we also have a technician that's worked on Ferraris all the way back to the 50s, which is Sean. Sean's
Hi, Sean.
here visiting. So he actually personally takes a look at all the vintage vehicles that come in. His expertise, whether it's from minor restoration to, you know, major disassembly, diagnostics. I mean, he has the background, definitely, and the years of experience to take a look at these vehicles. So
let me get this straight. This was like a Ferrari-owned dealership going back to the 1950s. That means probably been here from the early days of cars coming to the US, correct?
Correct, yeah. This is one of the earlier dealerships. I don't actually have the exact date of when this one was established, but yes, this is one of the few that were owned by the factory. So
that must mean that you have got all the tooling, like you just said, the information, the technical knowledge from those years of actually servicing the cars from when it was a Ferrari-owned dealership, and that's just been passed on and on and on. Today, it's owned by George and George, family-owned business, and you keep all that heritage here. And the good thing about that, I think, is knowing that you have the knowledge base here, you're probably the second place to go to other than the Ferrari factory for information and knowledge about some of the older cars. Would that be right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've met Sean already, but we also have another group of technicians as well. They're really well versed in some of the older models, and having Sean out there has really been a bonus for the dealership because he's also able to spread his knowledge to the rest of the team. But going back there, the person actually working on your cars, been working on many vintage vehicles for many years. He has a lot of experience. You're going to meet John, but he's very thorough, and he has that background as well. And getting back to the statement about pricing, you know, I mean, it's important that, you know, for especially with our, you know, what we stand for as a company is, you know, customer service, but also providing fair value to our clients. So it's very important to us that if we may not be the cheapest price point for a particular job or whatever, we hope to make up the difference in value. What we do provide as far as the equipment goes, as far as actually the training is actually reducing the amount of hours it can take to do a job as well. And that's something a lot of people don't look into when they go to pricing. You say, hey, what's your hourly rate, you know, versus another place? Well, it doesn't really come down to that. It comes down to the full pricing when you walk out the door. If you come in here and you have a strange issue, say your air conditioning issue, and you come here and you have somebody that really knows the product, really has the information, the tools, we might be able to find that answer faster for you, quicker. And what that leads to is
a reduced cost.
Reduced cost, right? So that's providing value. So for the amount of time that you invested, whether it's an hour or two, you're getting a good return on investment as far as we got from point A to point C in a timely manner, which is savings at the end. And then when it comes down to also having the expertise whether it comes to installation of the component or for finding the root cause. A lot of times that's missed. You bring it somewhere, they figure out, okay, this part went bad, right?
They just
You
replace
end
the
up,
part.
they replace the part,
But not
right?
find out what caused it.
That's correct. So we call it root cause analysis. And I think that's another added value by having someone with a background and experience as we have here and information, not just find and replace the part, but long term, you don't want that part to fail again, right? So what can we do? And all that's going to save money at the end, which is providing good value.
So one thing I want to say to the audience, just to give you talk about pricing, you're still thinking it's expensive, but I own a Mini, and I'm not going to talk about prices because it's individual for every customer, by the way. You know, you speak to them about your requirements and they accommodate your pricing. But just at the straight off the baseline, you won't believe this, but the baseline hourly rate is probably comparable to the Mini dealership up the road. And you know what that means is they're not charging you a premium because your car's a Ferrari. They are charging you a fair price for your engineering expertise, and you have access to all the specialist knowledge. So that's something to know. And you know, for those of you who watch my channel, those of you who watch my channel, you know that I wrench on my own Ferrari. I wrench on all my cars. But there are certain things that you need to sort of bring here and get done by a specialist. And I think don't dismiss Ferrari of San Francisco. Now, what I will say, this doesn't replicate across all dealerships, and you mentioned that, because some of the dealerships are newer and they don't have the history and the provenance with Ferrari that your dealership has. And I think that accounts for a lot of the expertise and that concepts of, okay, you pay an hourly rate, but you can get to the root cause quicker and pay less overall. So a car could go into a specialist for a week, you're paying a week's worth of labor, or you could come here for a day and you're paying a day's worth of labor. Could be a 40-50% saving. And that's where you really got to think about what's the true value you're getting.
Correct.
Brilliant.
So.
That's awesome. Okay, so Scott, I think we're going to be with each other for the rest of the day. I think the next step is to get the car prepped for going into the service bay.
Absolutely.
To do some work, and so let's do that.
Yeah, no, let me take care of it for you.
So Scott's getting the car ready to get back into the service bay by putting some floor mats in, some seat protectors in, and making sure that both the passenger side and the driver's side is protected. That's part of the customer receiving. Here, TJ, who's part of Scott's team, is checking the car in with the VIN plate and is going to take photographs on the iPad to make sure that if there's any damage caused during its visit at SF, we know it's actually been done there or not. This is Billy. He's always looked after me. He's now getting the car ready to drive out of the service bay and take it back, or the customer reception bay, and take it back to the service centre. So Billy's just brought the car back into the service bays behind the main building, and as you can see, this is a modern Uber service centre with all the latest equipment, ramps, etc. They're going to bring the 5.9 in and line it up with a 2-poster ramp, where the actual technician who's going to be working on my car for today is going to do a diagnostics on the computer, which you're not going to see. It's pretty boring, that stuff, and actually make sure there's nothing else wrong with it before they go ahead and start working on changing the oil. We're going to do 2 jobs today: change the oil and do the wheel alignment.
So we're here in the Ferrari service bay. Okay, so now what's going to happen is the technician is going to, the Ferrari tech is going to scan the car with the computer to check what the health is.
So the technician is actually undoing the under panels of the 599. Those of you who've not seen the 599, it's not so easy to do the oil change. You have to get underneath and remove these panels. So the front panels come off. And now what he's doing here is actually emptying the engine of oil, but that's not all the oil that needs to come out. Only a little bit's going to come out of here. This car holds about 12 quarts of oil. That's the oil plug, and they'll be replacing the washers on that. But the next part, he really needs to empty what we call the oil tank, because this car has what we call a dry sump, and that helps, I guess, with stopping oil swishing backwards and forwards. So here he's undoing the nut for the actual oil tank, where a lot of the oil is going to go in. So about 11 quarts this holds. So this is all being dumped into the oil drain basket.
So while they're actually waiting for the oil to drain, the technician is going to go around and do other safety checks, and he's starting with tyre pressures.
Now bizarrely, one of the things I brought the car in for was actually it undulating, or it wasn't very stable when speeding around corners or doing fast cornering. And it turns out that my tyre pressures were too high. So I do hope the alignment's out, because if it's my tyre pressures I'll feel stupid. But turns out they were just way high, like 38 when it was supposed to be 29 or something like that. Here he's actually checking the thickness of the brake pads. They don't have to take the wheels off to do that. They've got these gauges. I have about 4 mils left on mine, which is still a lot for carbon ceramic discs. And I've got a ways to go, and I've got a spare set at home, and I'll change them myself. Here the technician is tightening up the oil tank, and he's done the same for the actual engine oil drain. And this is the oil filter that's going to go in to replace the old one. So taking the cap off and just going to put a bit of oil seal on it and stick it back in. This is the old one coming out. It wasn't so easy to pull this one out, and this is all done now. So the oil filter's back on, the plugs are back in, and now he's going to pump some oil into this thing. I think one of the things that we have to add in here is 11 quarts of oil, but the other thing we've got to add in for this particular car is an oil stabilizer. And this oil stabilizer is something just in 599, so I've no idea where to do it, but it's an additional piece you have to do.
So we'll wait for the additives to get in there. The engine's now operating at 88 degrees. We've got 11 quarts of oil in there initially. We've still got to put some more in a minute. And we've now got the engine up to temperature, and we're putting the additive in. It's a thickening agent. For the 599s, they need it to stop the engine from knocking. And that's really important. So to check the oil level, we're going to have to rev the car to 4,500 RPM for 1 minute, and then there on the dipstick.
So this is the dipstick showing the oil level reading really, really low before we rev the engine and come back and measure.
So when we rev it to 4,500 revs, you got for about a minute, come back, we'll hopefully see a different level. So we're about to rev it to the 4,500 revs. The oil temperature seems to be a steady 66. We were expecting it to be 88. This car engine runs cool, which is great. In my eyes, it's great, so it's all good. So we're now checking the oil after the revs have been up.
So the oil level is showing between maximum and minimum, and the technician wants to leave it at this point. I suppose there's room for a little bit of a top up, but what you don't want on this particular car is the oil to be too full for when it expands during the heat, or it'll come back into the air boxes and etc. and make a whole mess. So we're going to leave it at that level, and it seems like a good place to leave it.
So when I do oil changes, I'm going to think about that. 11 quarts of oil and a can of that stuff which I already got. I already have some of this at home. Mine is from Minnow Oil. So we're now going to move it over to the wheel alignment bay, and in the wheel alignment bay we're going to at least check what the current settings are at and start thinking about what's the strategy for the wheel alignment on the car.
So the technician is now hooking up the sensors on each of the wheels so that we can get a read off the Hunter wheel alignment system. And this is where we're going to get a first pass at what the standard or what the actual settings are right now and how much of adjustment we need to make to the alignment. So all the sensors are fitted, and now we're going to go over to the main screen and hopefully get a reading on what the current settings are on the actual car itself. So the technician is showing me the caster and camber of the wheels, and clearly we've got a slight problem. We do need to make some adjustments on the camber, and it looks like the shims that are already in there probably just need to be removed and an adjustment made that way. So he's explained to me what we want. We still want a bit of negative camber because that's what I want in my race setup or in my car setup, and he's just helping me understand how we're going to retain some of the negative camber. So here the technician is showing me where the shims are, and where my finger's pointing right now, these are shims you can see from underneath, and they're on both sides, and he's going to undo the nuts and pull the shims out, and that should pull the actual suspension inwards on the camber and give me that better alignment, closer to zero, but still giving me negative camber. So here's it explaining me, you know, where they're going to actually take two of the shims out from each set of connecting points to the car for the actual lower wishbone. So it's the lower wishbone where the shims are going to create the impact.
Taking out all the shims and put it back in without the shims, and we're going to see, because we've lowered the car, I still think it's going to have negative camber, but we're going to see where we are with it. So by taking the shims out, we got an even reduction in negative camber, which is good. So we're at like 2.1 even on both sides, and now we're just going to adjust the toe, or should I say the text adjusting the toe. Okay, so we've managed to get all the wheel alignment done the way we want it, and we're ready to put the under trays back on, and we're done, and surprisingly a lot quicker than we thought we were going to be done. So I'm really pleased with that, thanks to our tech friend here. He's putting everything back away, and I actually can't wait to see how this drives.
So I got a printout of all the settings of before and after, above being before and below being after. You can see all the greens in the below section. It's everything as I needed or wanted on this car with the negative camber, all within tolerance, and hopefully should be a lot safer to drive and not so much undulating. So I'm really pleased with this.
The under trays are going on. We've got actually a lot of work done in a day, given the amount of time it took to actually do all the thinking about the wheels and the oil change. Did you see that? The amount of work in the oil change? Anyway, it's all good. The back tray is going up, and then we've got the front tray, and then we're cooking with gas.
So that concludes my day with Ferrari of San Francisco in the service department. It's been an amazing day with Scott and his team here. Don't forget to listen in on the value of actually bringing your car to Ferrari of San Francisco. It can actually be a lower cost than we actually expect. I've had my oil change done, which was way overdue. It was already like 1 year previous done before I bought the car, and it's coming up to 2 years since I've actually purchased the car come this June. So I'm really happy, and I hope you enjoyed the video and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks very much, everybody.